This small portion here in Hartford is a part of a bigger movement that's taking place not only across the United States, but worldwide. There are people standing together in solidarity with the people of Palestine, saying it is their right to return to Palestine. And we will not sit down and we will not give up the struggle until every Palestinian can achieve that right.
We are all here to show solidarity with the Gaza Freedom March that is aimed at breaking a repressive 3-year-long Israeli blockade on the 1.5 million residents in Gaza. I'm going to talk a little bit about Code Pink's delegation that they sent into Gaza and briefly touch on the status of that delegation and what they're up to right now as we speak. This delegation has been organized over the past year, and Code Pink has sent 6 delegations to Gaza since 2009. But this one is a little different because the numbers that have arrived at this delegation are much larger than any other and happening at a more crucial time than ever. There are 1,360 people from 43 countries joining 50,000 Palestinians this week to march. The march has been organized by the Palestinian civil society and many organizations within that since the 22-day-long Israeli massacre directly after that last January. So the plan is that this Thursday, the 31st, December 31st, all 50,000 plus people will join together to participate in a rally and three-mile march. They'll march north to Gaza to the Erez border and cross into Israel if they can. They're hoping to get as close to the border as possible with the least amount of tempting violence. The march will end in a rally filled with hip-hop music and commentary from farmers and fishermen and merchants who have experienced direct impacts of the Israeli siege. Upon reaching the Erez crossing, balloons, kites, and flags will be displayed to express solidarity with the Palestinians and Israeli peace activists on the other side. And there will be solidarity marches happening in the West Bank and on Israeli cities as well.
Hello, my name is Aram Ayalon. I felt an obligation to be here as an Israeli American to express my outrage with what Israel, my country, has been doing in the West Bank, in Gaza Strip. My first, I think I was talking to somebody before, we all came to our consciousness at different time in our development, and my initial real consciousness raising came in 1982 with the massacre of Sabra and Shatila, and I was just a newcomer in the United States and a student in the University of Arizona, and just spontaneously I went and the next day and participated in a demonstration with with the American Palestinian brothers and sisters of mine, and on the campus of the University of Arizona. And it was a watershed moment for me where a lot of the things I was brought up on kind of hit me in the face. But it's not to say that I didn't have the foundation. I think people forget that there used to be some leftist Zionism, even though it now sounds contradiction. But there used to be my fourth grade. I was in a youth movement, a leftist Zionist movement, and she told me, I remember at fourth grade level, that there were 2 nations in this country, the Palestinians and the Israelis, and the Jews, and both have the same, at least the same rights for this country. And that was in fourth grade, so I had my base, my foundation. So the Sabra and Shatila massacre was for me, a watershed moment. And then there came many more moments that I don't have the time to tell all of them. But there were a few In 1995, I was in Israel on sabbatical with my family, and I participated in the demonstration in the Kikar Malchei Israel, the center of Tel Aviv, with the Prime Minister Rabin and delegations from Morocco, Egypt, and so on, for peace. And I was actually 100 yards from where Rabin was assassinated, right there. And that was another watershed moment. And I think in 14 years, we haven't seen any leader anymore coming to support peace and reconciliation. So that was another watershed moment. Of course, there's many more. There's the Lebanese war. There is, and the latest is Gaza. There's really no excuse for what my country is doing. There's no excuse, and there's no apology. And I think it is important to know that not all Israelis, there's not many, but there are organizations very brave that are standing there in front of the checkpoints and challenging the soldiers, are supporting, are working with their Palestinian brothers and sisters. And I'll tell you the truth that since I've been here in the United States, the closest I felt was with my Palestinian brothers and sisters, and I think we share more than our differences. So I'm here to raise a voice of at least one Israeli, and there's many more, and I think they're growing. The numbers are growing, and there are Israelis who are trying now to introduce the curriculum about the Nakba, about the Palestinian Holocaust of 1948. There's hope. I think we need to work together, Palestinian, Jews, Arabs, and Israelis, to bring justice and peace in the Middle East. Unless there will be justice for the Palestinians, there will never be peace in the Middle East. And finally, I would like to point out that we're meeting here in what was the first synagogue in Connecticut. Right behind me, on the window, it says there's 10 commandments. And one commandment says, Lo tirtzach, don't murder. And I think what has been going on in Israel toward the Palestinians is murder. And this is forbidden, so it's time to change this. Thank you.
We must understand the siege of Gaza and what's behind the siege of Gaza. The siege of Gaza is a siege on the will of the Palestinian people. We've been under siege for years. Gaza is just an example. Gaza, there was an excuse given to the Israeli, a false excuse that Hamas is ruling Gaza and Hamas is a terrorist organization, etc., etc., etc. I assure you that regardless of who rules in Gaza, Gaza will be under siege. It's just different excuses that they use so they can just get to the will of the Palestinian people. And I assure you that the will of the Palestinian people is very strong. We're there to survive. We're going to be there for a long time. We're going to fight. Whether Gaza is under siege or not, we will continue to go on. But it's very important to understand these issues. It's not just Gaza. The West Bank is under siege. There is no independence. There is no government. I was in Palestine with a friend of mine, Khalid al-Qaddoumi, back in August. And what we've noticed is, like in Ramallah, within like minutes, the Israelis can close the whole city. So there's no such a thing as an independence or as a state given or so on. And just like I said, within moments, a small troop of Israeli can close the whole city of Ramallah. So all around Palestine, it's the same struggle and the same suffering. Unfortunately.